Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome back to, I don't even know. I know right now we're going from Elko, Nevada to Burns, Oregon. And I believe this is part 2 of a trip. I think we went from somewhere to Winnemucca to Elko. I don't know. Technically this is part 2 of a trip. I mean, it must be because we started in the middle of it. But, It's been a week. When it comes to Truck Sim, it's been a week. So let me tell you what's going on. 1.35 dropped for ATS. And I made myself a mess. I rolled forward to 1.35 in ETS. And I tested it on a vanilla profile. Same way we did in ATS. And then I got curious and I wondered to myself, when will ProMods drop? Is there any news? I mean, 1.35 isn't even out of beta yet, so of course ProMods is still quite a ways out. But I was just curious, and I saw that 2.40 had been released for the 1.34 patch, because initially I want to say it was ProMods 2.35 for 1.34, but now there's 2.40, and I thought, oh cool, I'll try that. There have been times when we've gone through a patch, right, an ETS patch, and a ProMods update, and we've kept our profile. Well, not so. Even though we did not patch the game up and we just patched up ProMods, could not get everything to operate. So we had a working 1.34 profile, and then we created a working 1.35 vanilla profile. Did not try to carry our profile over. Just started a new one to test 1.35, but then it was almost like I couldn't go back to 1.34. So fortunately I had a save game and I had kept all my old ProMods files. Was it 2.35, 2.33? Either way, the one prior to 2.40, I kept all those files on my backup. So I just put those back in. And now we have 3 profiles. We have 1.34. This is an ETS. We have 1.34 working on the old ProMods. We have 1.34 vanilla new profile working on the new ProMods, and we have 1.35 vanilla test. Whew. You know, I've said before, for ETS and ATS particularly, I feel like there are times when we are at peak mod. And peak mod I define as that moment where making your sims work, or games, I guess, because mods are not just in... Wow, this is a tiny little ramp. Mods are not just in sim gaming. They're in other types of gaming as well. But it's when you spend more time keeping your game or your sim operating and keeping all your mods playing together, you do that more than you actually play the game. And we're not there yet, but I get close sometimes. And I call that peak mod. And, you know, I got to thinking about mods. And I've thought about this before. I've talked about it before. And it's tricky because the majority of these mods are free. And that's kind of a gray area because it's like, well, who owes who what? You know, if somebody makes a mod for you and they give it to you for free, they don't owe you anything. And to use ETS as an example, we have that 1.34 profile working. We have about 100 mods in there. I'd say probably 60 or 70 of them are from the Steam Workshop, and the remainder are from out there in the wild. And I got them all playing together. And you know, to do that in Truck Sim, things need to be in a specific order. There will occasionally be mods that have, you know, when you unpack it, there'll be like a dozen files in there, and it says use this one if you got Rust map, and use this one if you got, you know what I mean? Okay. So it's a handful in ETS to get everything working well together. And once you get it working well together, it's like, whew, okay. Don't nobody change nothing. But of course the game will always patch up. The game will always be changing. And so from time to time, whether you want to or not, you've got to move everything forward for a new patch. Or you cannot. You can stay on the patch that you're on. Now you may give up some features that are in the new patch, but you may want to do that or have to do that to keep a particular mod that you like that's been abandoned or is just not being maintained. And that happens. And I guess that's sort of the crux of it, is that the question of what does a mod maker owe us? And if you make a mod and it's super, super popular, I mean, they don't owe you support for that. They're not on the hook to continue maintaining that. It's not their job, and you're not paying them. At the same time, it's tricky for us. I mean, you got to have a pretty, you know what I'm saying? You got to have a pretty zen attitude. Like this Aerodeath truck that we're in right now. I'll show it to you. Let me show you something. There we go. There's our Aerodeath Volvo. In fact, there's our screenshot. That worked out well. So we got this nice truck. I love it. If I found out this truck was not being maintained, that'd be kind of a downer. But you got to be zen, and you got to say, well, it was nice while it lasted. You know, that was a cool thing that I got to drive and play with before it went away. The let me see, the Oahu Volvo in ETS, which was then briefly taken over by Pendragon, I believe, and I think it's no longer maintained. So I don't know if that will ever be brought forward to 1.35. It's one of my favorite trucks, and it might just be gone. And there's really nothing you can do about that other than learning to do it yourself. You know, maybe you can do that. There are some aspects of modding that I feel like I could figure out, and there are other aspects of modding I feel like it takes years to get a handle on it. So sure, if you feel that strongly about the Pendragon Volvo, get yourself some tutorials, son. Fix it. Bring it forward. That's not likely to happen. So I guess I'm saying mods come and go, and you know, people can be a-holes on the internet. Both mod makers and gamers can be a-holes. And I have seen mod makers say, basically, go F yourself. I made it for you to use. Didn't cost you anything. I'm done working on it. Go F yourself. Oh, that's not very nice. But I have also seen gamers say, you owe me this because I like it. And that's also, you know, that's kind of silly when you think about it. Nobody owes anybody anything. So it's tricky for us. As gamers, we're in kind of a vulnerable position if we get into the mod life. And I mean that in terms of both the complexity of keeping all these mods working together when you have mods being made by different mod makers who may or may not communicate, right? And so this mod works with the game or the sim. This mod works with the game or the sim. I like both of them, but these two mods do not work well together. Huh, well, all right. And occasionally now you'll find a mod from a third person that makes those two mods work together. Oh, man. Now we got a mess. And you repeat that for however many mods you have in your mod folder. In my case, on ETS, about 100, right? That's a handful. And the easy solution, the best way to fix that is just don't use mods, or use a lot less mods. And I've done that a couple times. I have to say, enjoyed transitioning from FS17 to FS19 because I got rid of all my mods. And I had about 600. I only ever used 50 or 60 at the same time. I didn't run them all at once, obviously, but that was cool. It really was. Deleting that mod folder and thinking about all the, you know, as much as I enjoy solving problems, it was cool to delete that mod folder. So when I was trying to get everything working on the ETS side and looking at some of those mods that I have, I will admit that there was a part of me that was like, should I just delete all this and start over with a clean 1.35 profile? Because I've said before, I've said this many times, it's all just driving a truck. You know, the frustration that we feel, or sadness maybe, might be too strong a word, but it could fit. The sadness we feel when we lose a profile or a save game, you know, all that work, all that, you know, well, first off, it's not really work, it's playing a video game. And secondly, you're still driving a truck or farming or whatever. But I'm not saying that feeling something in that situation is wrong, because I do the same thing. I mean, I've got a ton of hours into Halter Map and Farm Sim building things, and that's not just farming. You know, just painting fields with a cultivator or a drill or a harvester, yeah, that's just farming. But actually placing buildings and, you know, figuring things like that out, like if I lost that save game, I would lose things that I built. And it's kind of silly to think of it that way, but we're people, we're human, we have emotions, and I would be, yeah, that would be a bit of a downer. At the same time, do it again. It's a game, it's elective, it's something you do for fun. If it was fun the first time, do it again. It'll be more fun. And I guess if you take that attitude too far, then no save game means anything, and you have no investment in the game, no commitment to it. So I thought about, let's just start a new profile, because it's all just driving a truck anyway. It's all just driving a truck anyway. So there's a lot of different angles to come at that from, I suppose. And I want them all to be good angles. I want them all to be positive angles. But it was interesting. And in the back of my mind at all times, I know the solution is less mods. But it's so much a part of these sims for me now that I really, it would be tough. It would be tough. In fact, when I started that new 1.34 profile in ETS, my first priorities were getting pro mods and the Jazzy Cat packs. Jazzy Cats. How many cats are there? My first profile was getting all that stuff working together. Oh, and the drivetrain revisions. So now pro mods is 8 files, I think, 11 files, but it's technically one mod. But then the Jazzy Cat packs are another 10 files, plus the drivetrain revisions. Although the drivetrain revisions come from the workshop, so I don't really need to mess with those a whole lot. Just keep them turned on. But bottom line is, a very basic profile, we're still technically running like 25 mods, and that's pro mods and Jazzy Cat. So it really is tricky, because these games, the way that we play them, sometimes they just aren't the same without mods. So we've got to, I say we, you can do whatever you want. When I say we, I mean me. We got to find a way to sort this out. We got to find a way to keep it working. And I believe there's always going to be that vulnerability of knowing that a mod maker or a map maker, in the case of Farm Sim, could at any minute just decide, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's not that they're mad or, I've seen several mod makers say, it just takes up too much of my time. I want to hang out with my family. I started doing this 5 years ago. I didn't have a family. I got a kid now. I just don't have time for this. That's totally cool. But when that happens, then that mod or that map, if it's not handed off to another modder, it just goes away in the next patch. And I don't know. I guess the thing we need to keep in mind, or the thing I need to keep in mind, is you didn't pay for it, so you never really owned it. But that's not the way people work. Unfortunately, that's not the way we see the world sometimes. I think for most people, possession, they say possession is 9/10 of the law. And I feel like if a mod comes into our world and we possess it and we use it and make it a part of our gaming, we really do come to see that as something that we own. And maybe it's important to remember that we don't. We just have the use of it. But that is a Zen attitude, man. That's a Zen attitude. And as a novice Buddhist myself, I can tell you that being a good Buddhist, I don't know where in the world you're from, being a good Buddhist makes you not such a good American. Because in America, from birth, we are taught to be very ambitious, very grasping, very aspirational. You should always want more, bigger, better. You should definitely want more money all the time. You should want to work more hours, be more productive, just more. And it makes you feel kind of odd. It makes me feel kind of odd to be an American and to, about a lot of things, have an attitude of, hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It'll be all right. It'll work itself out. And it's like, no, man, that's not how you're supposed to see the world. You're supposed to be very, manifest destiny. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I'm going to do this. And to take an attitude of, so it goes. It really does put you at odds with a lot of American culture. And the idea that take it down to the micro. If the macro is an entire culture, then take it down to the micro of something like a video game. And I like this, I enjoy it, I play it, I know it could go away at any given moment, and I'm totally cool with that. That's, you know what I mean? Apply that to something that you bought, right? Maybe not a PC or a console, because that's too big. You're talking about a not insignificant investment. But let's apply it to a game. You bought a game, you paid for it, you fire it up, and you get a message that says this game is no longer supported by the developer. All right, that's cool, but I still own it, right? No, you don't. You don't. Oh. Bypass the way station. You got it. I will do that. That would not fly. And the reason why not is because, hey, man, I bought this. I paid for this. But really the reason why is because it was yours. Because it was yours. And it doesn't matter how it came to be in your possession. Could have been a gift. You might have bought it. It could be freeware. You might have stolen it. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just making the point. It doesn't matter how it came into your possession. You owned it. And it was yours to do with as you pleased. And this day it pleased you to play it, but guess what? You can't play it today or ever again because it's gone now. I wouldn't say I would flip out if that happened, but I would most definitely be firing off a pretty tersely worded email to customer support of the company that sold me that game, or Steam, or whoever. And the only difference between that and a mod, a discontinued or an abandoned mod, the only thing that's different is we paid for it. But every other aspect of the, in sales, we call it emotional custody. And it's just seeing something as yours. Other than the price tag, that's yours. And you want to know why you can't use it or play it or whatever. I clicked the link for Assassin's Creed Unity right after Notre Dame burned, which is still weird to think about. That happened so quickly, and the news cycles are so fast now. It was like that was a big deal for about 36 hours, and then it was like, oh, okay, they'll rebuild it. 5 years from now, there'll be another news story when they reopen it. But yeah, that was a crazy thing to see Notre Dame burning. Holy smokes. But Ubisoft Paris released a link to get a free copy of Assassin's Creed Unity. I got it. I clicked that link. I didn't pay for it. And I'm telling you, man, if I went to the Ubisoft store and was like, I'll take my game now, please. I'd like to download this. I mean, it's in my folder. It says I own it. And they said, no, sorry, there's been a mistake. I'd be disappointed. I mean, I wouldn't be upset, but, right? And I didn't pay for that. So there's a lot of overlapping layers of feelings about mods, I guess. And all this came from the fact that a couple days ago, when ATS patched up to 1.35, I had to do a not insignificant amount of work to get everything working again. And as I was doing it, I had somebody years ago, a guy named Dave, hilarious guy named Dave. I can't say his last name. Dave said, "You're only ever mad at yourself. You think you're mad at your boss. You think you're mad at your girlfriend. You think you're mad at, politician, this person, that person. No, you're only ever mad at yourself." And anger, as we learned from Yoda, oh, it's getting twisty down here. Twisty, I tell you. As we learned from Yoda, anger is not a manifestation of power. Anger doesn't make you look powerful. If anything, it's an admission that you're powerless, right? Forget about controlling your environment. You can't even control yourself. Look at you. So, not only is anger not a manifestation of power, but it's most definitely a manifestation of the roots of anger, which are fear and sadness, right? Much fear I sense in you. So as I was becoming frustrated and trying to either save my 1.34 ETS profile or start a new 1.34 profile with the new Pro mods, as I was trying to sort all this stuff out and go on the mod conflict hunt and everything else, I was frustrated. I wasn't mad, but I was frustrated. And that's an opportunity, you know. I don't know where you're at on your personal journey, your growth. I don't know how you're doing. I hope you're doing good. There's some people that are always unpacking themselves, always trying to, you know, understand things. There are other people that aren't. Both work. You do you. You do the one that works for you. But if you're on that journey where you're unpacking things, trying to figure things out, you know that there is no event that is not an opportunity to ask yourself, all right, why am I feeling this way? What's going on right now? And as I was getting frustrated with this video game, which at every level from the top down, it is completely elective. It's a video game. I don't need to be playing this. And even if I choose to play this video game, I don't need to play with mods. And even if I do choose to play with mods, I don't need to play with that many. And even if I do choose to play with that many, I can opt out of the SCS beta rollouts. So what I'm saying is, here's me frustrated, and as I'm frustrated, I'm realizing that it's like I've taken, I don't know, half a dozen steps. I've made a half a dozen choices that have led me to this frustration. It's not SCS's fault. It's not the mod maker's fault. You know, it's nobody's fault but mine. And that's a heavy place to get to as a person, where you realize that you can take responsibility for not just your happiness, but for everything that you're feeling, you know. And think back to my guy Dave telling me, you're never angry at anybody but yourself. Usually because on some level you recognize that it is the circumstances that you have placed yourself in via all the choices you've made in your life. Oh yeah, we get heavy here. We get heavy here on the Portable Gamer. If this is your first time watching a portable gaming video and you're like, man, what the hell are you talking about? Everything is what I'm talking about. That's how we do it here. But when you get frustrated, when you get mad, like my guy Dave says, you're only ever mad at yourself. And very often you are mad at yourself because on some level, conscious or subconscious, you're recognizing that the problem you're struggling with right now is a result of your current situation. And your current situation is a result of, more or less, every choice you've ever made in your life. So you can look at it from one angle, like, you know, this is frustrating. I'm gonna have my houseboy / IT guy sort this out. I'm gonna say, hey, I don't know, what's our houseboy's name? Oh dear, we're gonna get dinged here. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. What's our houseboy's name? Gunter. Yeah, that works. Say, Gunter, this is frustrating. I'm sick of dealing with this. Sort my mods out, and I'll see you in the morning. Going to bed. And you do. And they sort it out. And you can make that happen because you've made choices that have put you in that place, that you have that resource, you have that opportunity. And that's I'm joking when I say that, of course. But it does work that way. You know, that there's so many things in this life that you feel like backing it in. I sort of do, but I sort of don't. I feel like not hitting this post back here. We'll give it one swing. Man, I do like the Volvo. I do like it. So you get what I'm saying. Very often the things that are frustrating for us, the reason they're frustrating is because we, at the moment, do not have the resources to affect our environment, to change our environment. And that is, ask anybody who's had a 100 level psychology class in college, and they'll tell you that an inability to control one's environment, or a feeling that one is unable to control their environment, is one of the most frustrating things that a human being can feel. Concentrating. That's why I'm getting quiet. Oh, we're going to clear the tipper. Maybe. Oh. Checking on the other side. Oh, you know what? And if I pull forward, I am going to jackknife the hell out of this thing. Let me see. I feel like we're just about clearing it. You know there are people that do this in cab. I cannot do this in cab. Wow. Okay. Okay. So I think, all right, that went a little bit better than I thought it would. Fantastic. All right. And then we'll just slide it right in there. So I guess the takeaway from all that, if you zoned out, if you weren't really paying attention as I was rambling, I would say the takeaway from that is, if mods frustrate you, delete your mods, you know, and that's what your Sifu would tell you. That's what your Lama would tell you. You know, you go to your guru, you say, "Teacher, I'm frustrated by these mods," and your teacher says, "So get rid of your mods." Done. There you go. Problem solved. Right. Brake is set. Engine off. We're in neutral. Let's see how we did. Beautiful. And are we going to level up? Getting there. Getting there. Almost at level 35. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.